And you are live, Dr. Judy! Yay!
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining in. Happy New Year! And for the new year, I created something new. Actually, not I alone, but me with Dr. 𝗟𝗡𝗏𝗧, one of my favorite team members who hasn't been on the team for a while because he's been busy developing his coaching practice, but now he's back on the Psychological Healing Center team as a life coach. And I have to tell you, he is some quality individual, integrity, intelligence, a top a top-notch person, and a very skilled therapist and coach. And I want to introduce something new. As many of you know, I have been ad nauseum, and not in a bad way, not to add insult to it, but I always talk about childhood wounds, and very important to heal our childhood wounds because we do not step ahead if we get stuck in them. However, we also have to acknowledge that we have to move ahead. We can't just be in our childhood wounds. So Dr. Perry and I put our heads together and we came up with a mind map, your future template. And there it is, everybody. Mind map your future. And it is a pathway to achieving your goals for 2025. And so this is a very specific mind map because you can utilize it to do any kind of a focus goal that you want to focus on. Or generically, you could just use it to get clarity on the goals that you want to work on in general. I actually have been using it for myself as a business model, and I have been finding that I have had more and more clarity as a result. And because I fill in the paperwork of the mind map and actually am doing it, I find that I am manifesting more and getting in touch with the right people and asking the right questions. So I want to start by saying thank you so much, Dr. Perry, for working with me on this beautiful project. And as you can see, the mind map is different than the one that I have originally for healing from childhood wounds. I have to caution you that if you're still very entrenched in childhood wounds, it's really hard to get going on your goals and step ahead into the future. So I sincerely hope that we both can understand that without addressing things like your wounds and your reactions and your negative encodings and your defense mechanisms, it's really hard to step into that future. So I suggest that if you're going to do the mind map your future, that you also make sure that you've done enough work on healing your childhood wounds so that you have an opportunity to move into your future. Now let's take a look at this together. And of course, I welcome all call-ins because I want to use this template as an example to illustrate how we can start moving ahead with this pathway to opening up a blueprint for your future. So the first panel, instead of wounds of childhood, which you're very familiar with, based on the old mind map, this is a visionary mind map. It is starting with your vision. So if you could see the little man standing on a cliff and looking out at the horizon, and the colors are absolutely beautiful and radiant, and this is a time to be creative and to realize that the best of your best is yet to come. And the best of your best can be basically tapped into by having visions. According to studies from Harvard, the best way to move into your future is to move into something that you are passionate about. So first you could start with a general vision of what you want to see for yourself in the year 2025. And then you can get specific with what those goals look like. So if we move ahead to panel number 2, you could see that there is a targeted goal. That targeted goal may be to exercise more or eat cleaner or start a new relationship, or lose weight, or manifest a business idea, or get engaged in a hobby that you've pushed aside for many, many years. And so being specific and asking the right questions is really what this process is all about. So it's not just visualizing it and goal setting it, asking yourself questions. And I'm going to give you some examples of how we set this up, because it's important to know that by focusing. So let's go to panel 1, and I'm going to read you a little bit from the mind map, because again, this is a journal, and the journal comes with a life coach, Dr. Perry, that you will be working with. And this life coaching process will take you from your visions through all of the challenges ahead to where you want to end up. And so let's go to vision. Use focus and clear intention to envision your ideal future. Define success and happiness across areas like career, personal goals, lifestyle, letting your inner light guide you. Okay, so don't do anything until you have a vision, because if you don't have a vision, then you're not really tapping into your light. And again, visions are worthy when they move you, when they touch, move, and inspire you. Those are the visions worthy of your attention. So the kinds of questions that we're going to be guiding you through, I'm giving you examples from panel 1, is the first question would be, what is your vision for your ideal future, and why is it meaningful to you? So in this mind map, we're looking at meaning. So for me, meaningfulness means helping other people. Meaningfulness is creativity. Meaningfulness is connecting with people so that I can lead them into a better pathway for their future. That gives my life meaning. Now, what's important is that it give other people a sense of meaning, so that we create synergy. My meaning plus your participation creates a sense of synergy, and together we move ahead with your vision. The next question is, what goals will help you bring this vision to life? So we're getting more specific, like in order for you to get your vision going, you've got to set some goals. And in order to set goals, this requires that you be specific. As an example, I'm going to be using this mind map actually to get back into my hobby of drawing, because I used to love to draw. For some reason, I've had an artist block. It's not uncommon. People get writer's block, and I have an artist block. So what I'm going to be focusing on is to manifest my artwork, and I'm pretty good at it. It's like my natural born talent. And I want to start focusing on what my goal is, and then structure it. So one of the goals might be for me to decide whether I want to get into pencil drawing or charcoal drawing or painting, or what kind of artwork I want to do. And then I'm going to have to be specific. My goal is to, let's say, carry around a doodle pad and some equipment with me. It might be some watercolors or just some charcoal or simply a pen or pencil, and fill up my doodle pad and make sure that every day I set a goal of drawing, even if it's for 10 minutes a day. And so once I set a goal, I'm going to have obstacles to this goal. And these obstacles may include lack of motivation. They may include distraction. They may include negative thinking. Oh, I'm not a good artist. Oh, I've lost my touch, and so on. And please don't concentrate on my example, but have in your head your own goal and your own examples, because through goal setting, you then pull yourself along into the specifics of it and what you need to do. So this is the kind of like getting the whole tool set together. What are the steps that are going to move you closer? So what are the steps that are going to move you closer to your goal? And that's going to depend on what you see as important for you to line up for yourself. It may be a mentor, it may be an instructor, it may be books that you have to read, it may be research that you have to do. Um, and then, of course, you want to measure your progress, because if you have a goal without measuring your progress, it's sort of hard to know that you're actually moving along. And this is a call-in show, everybody. So please pick up the phone, call in, and I want to hear your comments about this new mind map, because it certainly is something that is different than the old mind map. Let's put up the old mind map so I can remind you of the work that I've been doing for decades. And there it is. The structure is the same, but the panels are different. And in panel number one, I talk about the wounds of childhood, which actually block your light, which blocks your vision, which blocks your ability to manifest. And then in panel number two, I talk about reactions. And so instead of reactions in the goal-oriented mind map, you're having actions, not reactions. So I'm sort of flipping the system and moving it into the future. And then if you look at panel number three, you see that in my old mind map, I concentrate on negative core beliefs that have you in psychological prison and have you stuck. And in the new mind map, panel number three, if you can see, is actually your strengths, not your weaknesses. So we're flipping the system from your weaknesses and your old blueprint and your old structure into building something strong and viable, and identifying your skills, your talents, what brings a better building block to your process, and provide a solid foundation for growth. So you can see that when we're wounded, we do not have a solid foundation for growth. But when we are goal-oriented and we've done enough healing, we can then move into manifesting our growth and creating a structure that is viable and that will sustain into building blocks. So it's a new blueprint, actually, is what it is. So this is a call-in show, everyone, and so please pick up the phone. I want to hear from you. We're covering the new mind map called Mind Map Your Future, a blueprint for 2025, and what you are going to be manifesting. And it's a pathway for you beyond your wounds of childhood. So again, the emphasis is on the future and not the past. And my emphasis has always been healing the past, and it still is. So if you haven't healed enough, you may find that you cannot manifest and you cannot set goals and you cannot tap into strengths because old childhood wounds are clouding you and restricting you and casting shadows on your movement forward. So any questions in the chat room, Tony?
No questions, but somebody did say what a powerful progression in this future mind map.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, I'm really excited about it. And I'm really excited about bringing Dr. Eric Perry back on board and having him work with you guys and manifest something beautiful, because, this is a very we've been through such negativity with all of the chaos around the world, global chaos, and so on. And I'm still a powerful believer in be the cause. So there's nothing more causal than taking control of your future. And it's not going to happen unless you lay it out. Just like nothing happens, let's say that you're trying to build a house. Nothing's going to happen until you have the plans, the vision of the house. Then you've got to have the plans, and then you've got to have the equipment, and you've got to have the strength to do it, and you've got to have the resources to outsource what you don't know. And there is a question, so please go ahead.
All right, so I can't pronounce the name because it's really, really long, but
Okay.
they do ask, do you ever get completely detached and not triggered in terms of dealing with new career jobs feeling rejection? Are we ever that resilient? So how do we use the future mind map?
Okay, so again, I want to get clear on the question. What
I
happens when
can
we
read it again if you want.
I read it again? Sure.
Yeah, so do you ever get completely detached and not triggered in terms of dealing with new career jobs, feeling rejection? Are we ever that resilient?
I have to say no. No. You know, we're delicate. We're human beings. We hurt. We're in pain. We have feelings. We get triggered all the time. I get triggered all the time. But how do you get beyond the triggers is that you can go down like a Titanic and sink to the bottom because somebody looked you, gave you a dirty look or made a horrible comment, or you could pull out your vision because visions, I still think that the light is more powerful than the darkness. This is what inspires me. I've got plenty of my own darkness. I've got plenty of my own areas that do cast shadows every day, all the time. So this is not something that you completely overcome. This is a day by day challenge. But you know what pulls me out of it is when I invent something like this with Dr. Perry. This is much more powerful than my miserable little complaints. Much more powerful. And it gets me out of bed and it gets me enthusiastic and it gets me to sit down here and share this with you in an excited way. And that excitement and the vision of communicating something fresh and new and powerful and proactive is much more inspirational and quickly um, shadows over in a good way all my little miserable complaints and insecurities. Does that make sense? I want to hear from you. Why don't you call in?
Yeah,
I'd love to
please give us
discuss
a
with you.
call. Three two
Yes.
three 524 2599. And there is another question, and it kind of intrigued me on this one. You know how they say with history, we can learn from history. We can go back in time and try to learn from other people's mistakes that may have, or even what we're talking about, caused our current situations. But with this new mind map, can you, if you're feeling stuck with maybe the old map, can you use this mind map of your for your future? Can you use that to stick you with the old mind map?
Okay, so here's what I suggest. If you're full of narcissistic injuries, if you feel like you're in trauma or complex PTSD and all the things that I talk about, what I would do if you don't want to be in therapy is take the mind map healing from narcissistic abuse course. I put it on sale for you guys. It's something that I created a year and some ago. It's powerful. You don't even need to see me or any therapist on my staff. Just buy it. It's $250. It's well worth the money. It'll walk you through all of the steps. It's on sale right now because I'm having a New Year's special on it. Buy that process, and if you need a little help from one of the therapists, then by all means, we'll help you through it. But go through it, make sure that it's sort of like you get a pair of glasses, right? But if your eyes are all blurry or they're full of sand or something, you've got to remove the grains of sand and the blur in order to see and have a vision. So I would say if there are some significant things for you to clean up, I'm a fan of cleaning everything up before you use the mind map your future process. I'm a systems thinker, you know. So as much as I love mind map your future, I still believe that you have to address the past enough so that you can move forward. Now, do you have to be perfect? Do you have to be all clean and shiny like like no wounds and no reactions and no chaos and no defenses? Of course not. But enough knowledge and enough self-reflection to know that if you're hung up in these areas, you've got to address them and clean them up enough so that you could pick yourself up and have a vision and have momentum and have the ability to surround yourself with resources. Now, I couldn't do this alone. I know my process. I invented this process. However, I was inspired by Dr. Perry. He's the one who came to me and said, let's do something new and fresh. And all of a sudden, the life force returned to me, and I thought, yeah, this is fantastic because um, in my olden days, I used to have um, a stop smoking clinic, and then I wanted to do beyond that and go into the school systems and help prevent children from smoking. But once you have somebody that's smoking, you've got to get them off of the cigarette in order for them to manifest feeling better and let's say playing sports or having a healthier life. So, yes, always, always, always clean up the past, but never will it be such that you're perfectly clean. Nobody's perfectly clean. No way. And once you have enough traction, then you can start saying to yourself, okay, I've had a lousy day. I got triggered at work. People were terrible to me. However, I'm not going to let anybody steal my vision. Anybody. I talk about narcissists as stealing your ideas, stealing your energy, stealing your money, stealing your vision. So one of the things that you have to understand that about this new mind map is that you have to be a little bit stubborn and say nobody has the right to steal my vision. And if you have a vision for yourself that you haven't manifested, I suggest that you do this process. And then you pull this out, and it could take you, I don't care how long it takes you, but every day I write in this little journal. I write something. Now I was using it for something else, but this year I'm going to print out a fresh new copy of it, and I'm going to write on top vision to see myself through the eyes of an artist and to forgive myself for not being um, as good an artist as I used to be because I haven't practiced it for a long time. And to maybe even take an art class or maybe get an instructor once in a while to set me up so that I can have all the equipment I need or go to a class and have them set me up. Remember, we're not meant to do things alone, and when we get stuck, we're not meant to always unstick yourself. So let's go to panel number 3 and see number 4 actually, and see what happens here. Because in panel number 4, that's when things get sticky. You get stuck. It's difficult to move ahead. So here's where you tap into resources, support systems, knowledge, networks, mentors, books, courses, financial assets, supportive relationships. Is really, really difficult. As you can see by the picture, the person is pointing up to the star in the sky, okay? And the star kind of looks like a wheel. And in order for the wheels to turn, we need people. And in order for those wheels to keep turning, we have to keep learning and accessing the right support system. So resources not only include knowledge, they include people. And so as I'm pulling up my mind map for manifesting my artistry that I've abandoned and shamefully abandoned and feel bad about it every day, I have to remember that what's more inspirational than feeling guilty and shameful and kind of like a loser about it is even to take out a drawing pad and draw a circle on it, or um, just shade in something, or do a rough draft of anything. So you've got to get yourself moving. Very important. So I want to journey through this a little bit more, and I'm so delighted with the vision, the visionary piece of this mind map. It's just so beautiful. Thank you, Dr. Perry, for finding these images. They're absolutely beautiful. So if you look at panel number 5, the old one used to be the defense mechanisms, which kept you from meeting challenges. So defense mechanisms keep you stuck, and challenges move you forward. Challenges are meant to be in your face so that you can face them. Defense mechanisms keep you from facing things. So you see that if you are still so injured that you're all wrapped up in your defense mechanisms, it's hard for you to look out into the world and meet challenges. So again, that's why for a minute here, I'm going backward and saying to you, it's important to clean up the past, but don't let that be your reason for not going into the future. Because as I mentioned earlier, I'm a big believer in being the cause, and I believe that the light force is very strong. And when you have a vision and you have the support behind you and you have the resources, then things start to flow. There's a lot of psychological research about being in the flow. And when we are in the flow, it means that the resistance is lower. And so when we pick goals that inspire us, again, if we're inspired to do something, then we're going to find the how. If we have the why, I'm sure you've heard this before, if you have the why, you will find the how. And that's where I want to get into panel number 6. Panel number 6 was where we crashed and burned by breaking down in the old system. And that was when the rubber met the road and we couldn't go on with life because things were so badly failing that they broke down. And so in panel 6 of this new mind map, we're breaking through into solutions. So I'm going to read you a little from the journal. Brainstorm and plan strategies to overcome the identified challenges. This involves problem solving and creative thinking to navigate obstacles and stay on track. Adaptability and flexibility are key. Okay, so you could see the key, you could see the ideas being generated. You can see that this mind map is solution oriented. And thank you. Let's put some of these questions up, because Socrates was correct. If you ask the right questions, you will lead people down the right pathway. So it's all in the questions. What specific actions can you take to address the challenges you've identified? So it's not good enough to be general. You've got to be specific. What practical steps can you take to overcome these obstacles? So that gets you thinking in terms of practicality and overcoming obstacles. How can you think creatively to adapt if your first plan doesn't work? So again, asking the right questions will lead you to solutions. What strengths and skills can you actively use to tackle these challenges head on? So if your strengths are to do research, or your strengths are to be a great creative thinker, your strengths are to be mechanical and problem solve that way, you can use your natural strengths to solve your issues, your problems. And then question number 5 is, how will you monitor your progress and adjust your approach if needed? I love the idea of adjusting your approach, because everything is sort of like a gradual approximation. We can't get anywhere unless we sort of like steer the wheel and maybe it's not going correctly the first round, and then you have to back up or turn left or hit the brakes or go forward. So it's really, really difficult to get it right the first time around. Any other questions? I'm losing my voice a little bit, but any questions in the chat room?
A lot of comments. Not really a question, but we really would love to have somebody call in 323-524-2599. But they are enjoying the new mind map, so we really appreciate you guys for that.
Okay, yes, thank you for that. This is the first time anybody's seen this, and so I'm kind of excited to know what you all think about it. And that's another aspect of taking on something new, is that you want to expose it to people. And of course, that's risky because people might criticize it, they might put it down, they might not like it. And so, if somebody, for example, doesn't like this, does that mean that I'm going to scrap it? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because then I am disadvantaging people that may benefit tremendously from it. And that's why it's so important to have your vision and to have your goals and to stick with it and believe in your vision, because once you believe in your vision, nobody can take you off course. Now, I have no problem with course correction. I do have a problem with people who try to um, run you off your course, or or take you away from your vision and your manifestation of the best of your best. But if they're truly in your favor and they give you honest, rigorous feedback, that's the best thing that can happen. Because if somebody says to me, "Oh, have you thought of that question? Why don't you add that to your process?" I might want to do that. I just might want to take that feedback and add it to the process, and allow for the morphing and the creative evolution of of this process, because that's how we evolve. If we're stuck in the mud, if we're stuck in our defenses, if we're stuck in being right, if we're stuck in not allowing other people's feedback into the process, then we don't grow. And that's why it's so important to access mentors. It's so important to read and expand ourselves, because we want to open the door to more feedback. We want to open the door to more ideas, because that's how we grow. We grow from other people's ideas. Um, so I'm going to go on with how we can monitor the progress and adjust your approach if needed. And again, when we work with patients or clients, we're always adjusting to their needs, because no two people are alike, and no two people work at the same speed, and no two people have a same blueprint, and no two people are going to um, respond to this process the same way, which means that we have to adjust. And that's the artistry of doing therapy or coaching, is that we are working in synergy with our clients, and we are adjusting to their goals, and we get behind it. Because again, as you can see from my mind map number 1, my favorite panel is panel number 7, which is synergy. And synergy means 1 plus 1 is greater than 3. So if you and I work together, whether it be on Mind Map 1 or Mind Map 2, or Dr. Perry and you work together on the mind map to create synergy, there's something magical about working with another person and being accountable to another person to achieve your goals. It's really, really difficult to draw when I don't have anybody to report to. I'm better off if I have a teacher or a class, um, or a mentor. If I'm just, especially at the beginning when I don't have the momentum going, it's really difficult for me to self-generate. And there are lots of studies about this where people are recognizing that when you're within a partnership or in a group of people with a group of people, um, for example, if you're at the gym and you have somebody working beside you or somebody helping you through the weight training, for example, you're going to pull more weight if you've got somebody helping you. Same way, if you have a mentor, you're going to get further, most likely, unless you're just one of those people that are super self-motivated. And I could tell you that I'm absolutely not one of those people. So I need those resources. I need the support system. I need the mentors. I need somebody that's going to help me monitor my progress, somebody to report to. So let's move into panel number 7, milestones. And look how beautiful that is. Look at the pathway, the milestones, the stars in the sky. Set specific markers that indicate progress towards your goal. Milestones help you stay motivated and provide a sense of achievement as you reach them. They also help you measure your growth over time. That's why classes are good, because in classes they may give you homework assignments and then you reach your milestones, or back to something more simple like working it out at the gym. You can measure your milestones by how much more weight you can lift, or how much longer you can tolerate the treadmill, or anything that shows progress of your strength or progress of your skill. What milestones can you set up to mark progress toward each goal? Because as you reach your milestones, it will motivate you to push further forward. What are the most important milestones on your path to success? How will you celebrate or acknowledge each milestone you receive? I think this is a huge one because most people do not celebrate their milestones or successes. And particularly when you're coming out of a narcissistic family, there are no people to mirror you and self-reflect and self-correct, or help you to self-correct, or help to celebrate your achievements. On the contrary, if you're surrounded by narcissists, they will demean and devalue and destroy you before you have a chance to even have a vision. Or if you have a vision, they'll steal your vision and own your vision and take it right away from you. How will these milestones help you stay motivated and focused over time? So again, this whole mind map process is clarifying, pulling you forward, acknowledging the baby steps that you take to move yourself forward, giving yourself plenty of opportunity to celebrate the little baby steps of accomplishment. How can reaching milestones help you adjust your plan and set new goals? So everything, again, is subject to change. If you need to adjust your plan, then like an architect, if somebody doesn't like the plans, or if you don't like the plans that the architect um, created, then you get to adjust it, and you get to adjust it according to what inspires you and what will best meet your goals. And so moving forward into panel number 8, growth. And as you can see, the little plant there is a metaphor for things taking root and growth. Focus on personal and professional development. Identify areas for improvement and explore new skills, embracing growth to ensure continuous improvement and adaptation. In what areas of your life do you want to improve the most? So again, it's back to identifying things. What do you see as opportunities for growth to help you improve? So now you may want to go back to your resources and tap into other resources that might give you opportunities, maybe networking, maybe picking somebody's brain to see how they may see things. What steps can you take to move outside your comfort zone and support growth? Well, That's a tough one because nobody likes to be outside their comfort zone. So growth is not being in your comfort zone of defense mechanisms. Growth is getting out of the defense mechanisms and moving into things that may not be comfortable. Sorry, my voice today is not doing so great. But you could see that in order to grow, you've got to do something different. You can't do the same old, same old. If I went to the gym and lifted 5-pound weights and didn't add another pound every once in a while or didn't do more repetitions, there would be no growth. So pushing yourself forward requires that you get out of your comfort zone. How will you measure your progress to acknowledge your growth? So one way of measuring progress is physically. So physically, what are you manifesting? Is it, can you see it? Can you taste it? Can you see how it morphs your life into something better? Can you see how it connects you with your passions? So every once in a while, you want to check in with yourself and see that your progress and your growth are pushing forward. And if it's not, that's okay, because you're going to, obviously, we all do this 2 steps backward and 1 step forward, and then 2 steps forward and 1 step backward. And it's a dance of resistances versus progress. And now on panel number 9 is sustainability. So how are you going to sustain what you've created? Because one thing about creation is that it's never set. You always have to put energy into it. If you could see panel number 9, there are streams and trees and light and flowers. Okay, so that's not going to sustain itself unless it rains and things, the ecosystem stays balanced and feeds upon itself. So it's the same thing. Ensure that your progress and growth are maintained over time. This stage emphasizes the importance of sustaining the achievements and growth you've made, promoting long-term stability and improvement. What strategies can you use to ensure your success and growth? What strategies can you use to make sure that they're sustainable? What habits or practices have you learned that will help you sustain your progress? I did a show a while ago called Bit by Bit, like every little bit counts. And it's true, if there are going to be days when you don't feel that you're making a lot of progress, but even doing something is better than nothing. So if you understand that there are going to be days that you just do a little bit, it's more sustainable than just doing nothing at all. How will you stay flexible and overcome challenges to maintain your progress? So you want to maintain your progress, but then again, get out of your comfort zone and push forward. And finally, how can your values and contributions sustain your impact? And this is a big one for me because I value making a difference in other people's lives. And when I see the results of making a difference, it inspires me to do more. It inspires me to think more. It inspires me to create something new like this. So any questions in the chat room, or does anybody want to call in? Because there's just endless possibilities in this mind map to apply it to creating a new blueprint for yourself for 2025. And as we know, when people start a project at the beginning of the new year, oftentimes it fails. So this mind map is to help you to make sure that it doesn't, so that it can sustain itself and that you can take the baby steps and use your resources and your flow and your energy to make sure that you push forward. And please understand that there are going to be days when you don't feel like it at all, and days where you have massive amounts of energy. and don't expect yourself to be the same around your motivation every single day. Any more questions in the chat room?
Yeah, we do have one. It says, how do you put yourself in the highest standard to be resilient and full of that great self-esteem? Please and thank you.
How do you put yourself in a high standard?
Yeah, yourself in the highest standard to be resilient.
I think first put yourself in a high vision. Okay? Have a high vision. Don't aim low, aim high. Aim for something that really inspires you. And then your standards, like let's say I have a vision. I have a vision of I want to create a beautiful piece of art for my wall. I have a vision. I have colors that I have in mind, and it hasn't manifested yet. I'm not even pulling out my paints yet. I haven't even put my canvas up, but somehow I have an intention that I want to put a nice piece of artwork up on my wall, and I want it to be something unique and fun and interesting. And so, first of all, I have to spend some time visualizing what this is, because it's not going to happen. You know how people say thoughts are things. So have the vision first, and that's your high standard. Once you have the vision, then you can fulfill on the vision. Does that make sense to you?
Makes sense to me. I hope the person asking, it makes sense to them too. And we do have a call.
Okay, great. Hi. Thank you so much for calling in.
Hi, it's 𝗦𝗨𝗕𝗏𝗏.
Oh, hi, Manya. How you doing? Nice to hear from you.
Oh, great. This is really exciting to me. I love using the mind map, but this is exactly what I need right now. I'm just not sure that I know how to do it. I've taken like screenshots and I'm taking notes as you're speaking, but do you have some suggestions how I can become more comfortable with creating a big vision for my future?
Yes, absolutely. So if you have a vision, do you have a vision in mind?
I have it quite in a loose way. Like I had my husband passed away 5 years ago, and we had worked and formulated a vision for the 40 years we were together.
Mm-hmm.
But now it doesn't really fit for my life now that he's passed. So I'm trying to find a new vision for my future as a single woman that would work for me, but similar to what we had dreamed together. I liked his high values and his high standards.
Do you have a gradual approximation of what that looks like?
Not really yet, no. It was just this lovely way of being together, adventuring together in our retirement years. Like we had this plan of how to be together under the dominion of God. You know what I mean? Our type of enjoyment, and how we were going to like process the rest of our life together. Does that make sense?
Are you dating anybody at this particular time? Because it sounds like you need
Well,
a partnership.
I am dating, but I wouldn't say it's going that well, no.
So one of the things that I'm going to be talking about in application of this Mind Map Your Future is to get dating ready and how to make sure that you're picking the right partner, aka not picking a narcissist, because that's my specialty, and that's our specialty at the Psychological Healing Center. So maybe what you're craving is a friend or partnership or somebody that you could share this journey with. What do you think about that idea?
Oh, I love it. And I mean, I have lovely girl chums and lifelong friends.
Mm-hmm.
And so all of those relationships since I've been mind mapping, they're all growing. Like we're all growing using the mind map. But I hadn't considered, because I have struggled trying to create a future vision. And now looking at these new panels, I'm really excited, but I'm not convinced I know how to do it well. No.
So here's what I suggest. So since you don't have a partner right now in your life, why don't you start having discussions with these wonderful girlfriends about your ideas, and maybe their ideas and your ideas will be synergistic. And once you find people that you're synergistic with, then you can start creating visions. And once you start creating visions, you have the inspiration. And then you can go from the vision to creating the goals, to tapping into your strength, to finding the resources, to meeting the challenges, to coming up with solutions, and then creating milestones, growth, and sustainability. So again, I've got this right in front of me because I'm going to be using it for myself because we all need it. Okay, so there it is. And those are all those beautiful questions and so on. And so reach out to me. I would love to pair you with Dr. Perry or work with you myself on this, or if I have enough of a group of people who have similar goals in mind, then we could put together a group of people and move together. I think that would be really exciting.
Totally exciting. I'm all in. And I already have a sense with my girl chums how we can start this now, but doing it like with the with your center and with a group of people, like maybe, like, you know, like who knows? That would be just fascinating.
Wouldn't it be? And then people can
Yeah.
start being resources to each other. And I think that once you start something, it starts having its own life force. If we're just talking about it and doing nothing, nothing happens. But once you start taking the first step, it leads to the next step and the next step and the next step and the next step. And then it just keeps opening up. So this is what
It
this.
does it reminds me so much of a musical score. I'm thrilled about this new visioning, the mind map visioning the future. I love it. I just love it.
Thank you so much. I'm really, really excited about it. And I'm so appreciative of Dr. Perry. Dr. Perry was on my team years ago, and he was my intern and then went off into coaching and away from the deeper childhood wound stuff, which I love to do. And then we got back together again and we found our synergy point, which was the structure of the old mind map applied to rewriting your blueprint for your future. So, of course, that brought life force to me. So I'm a perfect example of what's possible when you unite with people who are synergistic and on the same page and want to share the light and want to create pathways to other people. And once you start talking, just sometimes just talking to your girlfriends and saying, hey, you know, I have some visions and goals for myself. What are yours? Let's see if we can support each other in being growth partners, because that's what this really is you're a growth partner with your mentor, you're a growth partner with your friends, you're a growth partner with your community. We need growth partners.
Yeah, we really do. Thank you for inspiring me so much once again.
You're so
And
welcome.
I'll keep listening. Thank you.
My pleasure. Okay, well, I hope that everybody enjoyed the introduction to Mind Map Your Future. And if this is something that you're interested in taking the journey, to taking this journey, please reach out to me. And it would be a delight to explain more and get you started. So Happy New Year, everyone. And remember, it all starts with your vision. And then once you have the vision, then you manifest the vision. Thank you and Happy New Year, everyone.